Finance, National Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mine, I think maybe is a comment or a concern that I just wanted to raise more than being a question. When the DG for the national pension was making his presentation, he mentioned that up to now, we have not put in place the Retirement Benefit Authority, the RBA, which means and this also applies to social funds. It is really very, very important that these bodies are regulated, because not because of mismanagement that can happen anywhere, no, but because they have a crucial monetary policy implication. This money that they have can affect the market, and it can negatively affect what even the central bank is doing. So I think it is very, very important that this RBA is established. But I would even suggest that, given the experiences of other countries, Uganda included, I think until very recently, until 2010 or 2011, Uganda didn't have a regulatory body. But the practice that this country will use is to give a responsibility of regulating these institutions to the central bank. These funds, I was in Uganda in 2008, I know they were regulated by the central bank because their regulatory authority was not in place. So I would suggest, if the formation of the RBA is going to take time, then we should see how central bank can come and the supervision department in particular can monitor the activities of give oversight to these two funds. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Paul. Okay.
Your Excellency, my comment is regarding pension fund. He's not around, but let me throw it into the air. Maybe you will help me. The pension from a Bay area to the National Pension Fund, as you have seen, was zero. But let me tell you, Your Excellency, that the pension of the Abia area is in the block account, the Push Bank, since 2008. That account, you throw in, but you cannot withdraw. Even me, Governor, I cannot withdraw anything from it. Till the time we will agree to hand over this money to pension fund. In August, I mean in September, in August, Your Excellency, pension fund sent us a team to go and train our directors, director generals, and civil servants on all aspects of pension. And the training went very well. We showed them the money. That this is the total money belonging to pension fund. But we want to talk to you. Your Excellency, when I was in the Ministry of Defense, we in the Defense Ministry, we managed to accumulate a lot of money to the pension fund since 2008. Then all of a sudden, the Minister of Defense unilaterally decided to use the money he decided to use the pension money alone. So how do I trust now that I give this money to this pension, national pension fund, and the fate will not be the same like the fate of the pension money of the army? What is the guarantee? That's why, Your Excellency, the money is there. He should not accuse people to be of corruption. I can take him to court. But I want to make sure that he is a credible person that can go and handle this money of the poor pensioners properly. Your Excellency, can I give money to somebody who will go and give a pensioner 3,000? Sahan bita akil fi yom wahid. A pensioner will be paid 3,000 per month. And he expect me to pay him 2 billion? Am I a fool? We want to dialogue with him and his money is there. He can check for Kush Bank. Nobody have touched it. It is in block account that me, nor my finance minister can access it. Thank you.
So you want to dialogue with the pension fund. You have not created an ABA pension fund. Do I understand that? You have not created the area administrative fund. You are only keeping it till you dialogue with them. Okay. Right. Professor Fatio.
شكرا نائب الرئيس الأول. أنا داير أسأله سؤال اتنين. سؤال بتاع بنسون وسؤال بتاع بلوك. كم بليون على ونسوغال فرس وسنة كتوري أدي ما بدأ من زمان بتاعي كان زي ده بس بدأ من زمان ناس بكسره كلا سالو بكسره أول ما يسالو أنا كان دير مولي سابات كلا أبداو ما بكسره أبداو ما جامع نونو غفنا تالكان ورا ما أنا زمان أنا جا في حكومة أنا قاسم من وزير بتاع مالية قال بنسون قاقتاو هو ياو كمان بجواب ما أنا غفنا ياو إجابة بتاع بنسون أنا ما في فوقه كلمة سالو غفنا
وقت بتاعك أنت دفعته؟
وقت بتاعي كل شهر وزير مالية قاشيله هو فيني هو بجوابه ما أنا
خلاص اديله وزير ماليه بتاعك.
لا كلنا جوابه اخر جوابه بتاعي انا بديه اخر اجابه بتاعي زي ما جبنا تانا سالوني انا ما اعرف يا تو بلوك نينا شغالين موقع ولايه طبعا من جينا في حكومه في سلام ده أنا لسه جاي استقل مع باجت بتاع 32 ستيت هنا شغالين مع باجت بتاع 32 ستيت زمان أنا جا زمان 32 ستيت أنا جاي لقوا بلوك بتاع 32 ستيت كله 91 مليون أو أنا أو 10 كاونتيز في ولاية بتاعي كله في جروز ده لما جابوا مية نفر بتاع برنامج وجابوا executive كتير jabu commissioner, commission, jabu kan county council, kan wala tultumia mama rof. Ana zatu ma kutu ana baliga guru sueni bodi. Raise double. It needed. Why do you say million de maraten? Dala guru ze bisarafa maraten. Ladi yomalela ana mailigo. Ana zatu jai na ana bukunu indi makama ma minister ta public service ma minister ta malia. Ashani block haliwono sude ana ligo block bita Western Equatoria mitenu kamsa 80 million. Mini why do you say million alakani wadi ya kutu 8 million fogu biga 3 million bagi de wen. Ana maligo bagi de awragi de fi mana. Yani block bita Western Equatoria 8 million 94 million leasa. Pali race double de fi wen. Ana main. Yani mini mitenu kamsa 80 million gawa dina mia why do you say million? Why do you say million de account bita talim fogu. Ukani mafi fi blog bita state. Uwadika mana account indi na chini governor bita talim barao governor bita akuma barao. Alam de bukunu kef. Deyao kalama alimashi. Galo munina governor nina fi mushkila. Galo munina saki. Ana daira roa fi wazara bita public service. Ana bisamon minister bita malia fogu. Bagi gurus de wen. Bagi state siya ya bagi state ta nini magadafa gurus ta defend state. Dema nina. Gatao gurus kan wilaya bita gatao gurus bita defend state mini fi Juba ini. Zol kan ga claim kale jana body waraga yao amul deduction bita defend state am le public service as an body. Deya wajana kan dere juwabu wazir maliya bagdere juwabu agu bita pension de taban de jerima bita de ma bita. Sukran. Bueno. Yao uwen utala. Wait, huh? Ofi? O mafi? O tala? Esigi ita bagdere de jawabo? Ma ita garib ma?
SGV? SG Western Equatoria?
No, Lex.
I'm still with Western Equatoria.
I know nothing completely about the finance, and I'm not able even to answer any.
Okay, when the minister comes. Okay, عشان نحن نمشي قدام. Speaker Western Bahar Gazal. Where is he?
His Excellency, Co-Chair, the first Vice President. Our presence here is to contribute because we are the speakers. This is our opportunity. Since the finance minister is here, all of us, we know that the formation of the revitalized peace and formation of the state assemblies, the additional of the 52 members up to the 48 recently members is not budgeted for. So we are insisting the finance minister so as to separate our budget, because the state assemblies are the oversight mechanism so as to monitor the activities of the executive. The other question is directly going to the Minister of Human Resource Public Service for the issue of the appointment of the Director Generals. Recently, I was a minister before. The legal procedure and the way to do is the minister concerned to nominate 3 senior technical personnel from the concerned ministry, and it will to be discussed in the Council of Ministers. But currently, some of the governors, they are just issuing a degree to appoint the director generals, which is not fair. Also, we appreciate the presentations that given by Honorable James Oss in his action plan 14 for the South Sudan Social Insurance Fund. As an example of it, the medical care. Since the budget is sealed and the issue of the health is more critical for us, and many governors that present, they are facing a gap of the insufficient medical drug supply. When we were in the National Ministry of Health, we proposed that the Central Medical Supply so as to become an autonomous body. The bill is still there in the Ministry of Justice. We need this bill so as to become an act. At the end, the Central Medical Supply will become an autonomous body, and it needs an independent budget so as to fill the gap of the medical supply, because now the nation, the country is depending on the HPF, and the budget of the HPF has been reduced. Most of the health facilities has been closed down. This is still remain a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the First Vice President of the
Director
Republic.
General of Pension Fund, can he join here?
My questions,
Guide? Tafash? Okay, go ahead.
so my questions, Your Excellency, is going to the manager of pension funds. In the presentation of the manager of public funds pension fund, they put Eastern Equatoria nil. I'm a minister of Eastern Equatoria of Finance, called Peter Malcholo Kuju. We are transferring the money of pension to the Bank of Southern Sudan. South Sudan, through the account. They have the account there for pensions. It is they, either they check or not, or is INEPA approach their staff. We have the documents for transfer the money to the account. Now is still present. I want him to come to apologize, and then after that he can go to this institution to asking the money. Another issue, again, to the Minister of James was Minister of Labor. I mean, the Minister of Labor said the state, they are not implementing whatever in the Act of Labor Law. I think the state they're implementing, with exception the Ministry of Labor and National, the other one is not following their issues. The majority of organizations and companies sometimes, they are doing the interview, the whatever there, then coming to the state. Sometimes their advertisement, they are not reaching to the state. That's why you find that it was a lot of problems from the youth, because the problem they're supposed to be transparency in all other states. Like in Kalam de Magasel. So there's a problem also, the Ministry of Labor. Then they say the only drivers, they're the one to be in the. لكن كلام ده جاب مشاكل كتير. إن قاعد الكلام ده كانوا ده كلام بسيط ما كلام بسيط. لأنه فيها مشاكل في ناس بعد مرة one state but sometimes أنت ما بتلقوا فوقه في شغال في منظمة for example. عشان كده مشاكل كان قاعد يقوموا طوال. So this forum they're supposed to find out how to solve that problems. عشان نقدر ما يكون في نادي ودي فرصة لهذا لكن لما نقول مثلا everybody to compete and so on. No. There are some people, those who are low in education sometimes in some areas. Then you find somebody from other state, they are either 10 or 5. They are the one now operating in the organization. The others, my back that goes Pursa. So the act, there's a need also to be checked again. So one of them resolved with a manager of the pension fund to come to apologize here. Have the documents. These are all the letters of transparent. You cannot just to put zero. Why? If in the account.
Did you inform him?
Thank you.
Okay.
The manager, the general manager, is he there? Khalas, let us answer the questions. Huh? Somebody to Ais Sal? Okay, Asal. Wahinaga Ais Sal? Khalas Sal. Just those and we go forward.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and also the panel. My name is Garang Tong. I'm Deputy Minister of Cabinet Affairs. My question is very simple. I just want to ask Honorable James Hoss, seeing the managing director, the general manager is not around. I just want to know, since people are now moving from time to time to get a good job in different places.
The Ministry of Labor is not responsible for.
He's now in the panel.
Okay. He's not responsible for the pension.
He's not responsible. He's responsible for the labor. And sometimes you may see a military personnel or maybe a major serving in the military barracks may shift to civil servant and come and serve in the ministry, maybe as a director. And when he reach the age of retirement, where will he get his or her pension? Because now I have understand that there are two pensions, the military pension funds and the civil pensions funds. So where will he get his or her pension? Thank you.
Important. Yes, the next.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is John Canisio. I'm Undersecretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. My question goes to Honorable Minister of Labor. Is on the work permit that is issued by the ministry. We have a concern that you give permits in the agriculture profession, for example, without any reference to the, to the line ministry. I know we should have had professional councils, which I'm appealing to Your Excellency that they be considered. Because the professional councils will vet the qualifications, of different professionals. So the implication of what is happening now, you get people who may be actually claiming to have a certain qualification, but they don't, and they get the permit. They may have the same qualification that we have, and they overcrowd our professionals. So this is one way we can control even, the number of foreigners who are coming to our country. My last point on this,
Yes,
as the Minister of Agriculture, we have.
This is job. Let you continue.
Yes.
Wait.
We have, for the donor-funded projects, a project coordination unit, which interacted with the implementing organizations, including UN agencies. Our experience showed that our team was of higher qualification than those in the organizations. Because when we asked them to submit their proposals according to terms of reference, which we developed, it was so difficult, we almost lost the funding, until we had to handhold them to take them through the process to develop the proposals. Then we submit it to the donor to be accepted. Now, who has higher capacity? Please take note of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we answered the questions, or you want to? Huh? Yes.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, I raise my hand to raise a question of clarifications. Every week, the national government have a council of ministers. And if there are some issues between other ministry and ministry like what they're raising, why could they not clarify there? Why should it wait what is in the governance forums and they come and contradict themselves here? Thank you.
Well, they're talking about pension funds. Yeah, that's okay. Yes, there. That be to the end. What are you not?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the First Vice President. The rest of the protocol is observed. I'm Honorable Shol Kwadwel Manom, Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agencies, Lagos State. Your Excellency, the question I'm asking is going directly to the Minister of Public Service. Honorable Joseph Osoro made a very, very good presentation. And one of the points I have captured here is the fact that they have developed a salary structure and pay increase for our civil servants. So the question I'm asking is whether this new salary structure has resolved one of the long-standing discrepancies that used to exist and is still existing now in the payment of our civil servants. The discrepancy is the fact that people of the same grade receive different amount, receive different payment from one state to another and between the states and the national level. Take for example, if I am grade 5 in Lagos State, I may find that a person of grade 5 in Jonglei State is not receiving the same amount I'm receiving, and we are in one system. I may find that a person of grade 5 and even an unclassified worker at the national level is paid more than I am, while I am a classified staff here. Okay. So my question is, is the new salary structure addressing this issue so that we have a unified salary structure for the country that discrepancy has to be resolved, and we need to see it either resolved at this level, or we are given a clarification as to why this exists when we are one system. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes. The last one from this side.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name again is William Kolong. My questions will go to Honorable James Hosmai. I want to thank him for the great presentation that he has done. In the states, especially in Northern Barghazal, we raised the issue of peace dividend a couple of years ago. And I think I present that one during the PFRR. We led to a building of vocational training center in Northern Bahr al Ghazal. And I was happy to see from your presentation that you are in charge of vocational training centers. And since that center was built in Northern Bahr Ghazal, there was no program from the ministry, your ministry, that has taken place that place. It is only the humanitarian and the other UN agencies that have to develop a proposal and then bring the youth inside there and train them with the skill they need. So is there any plan at your ministry that you can carry out a training, we as a government, because it is already handed over to the government? And I know you were complaining earlier that the governors and the ministers are taking over the facilities. And I think it's because the facilities are hiding idle. The government has the national government have no plan to run them. That is one. Number two, we have graduated a lot of youth in that vocational training center. And Your Excellency, the problem we have in Northern Bahr Ghazal is youth. We have two types of youth in that place. There are young people who graduated in Arabic in Sudan, but when you change your working language into English, they become idle and they have nothing to do. And that's why that vocational training center was built to give them the skill they need so that they can catch up with their life. Now, those we took inside there, especially the plumbers and electricians and carpenters, they are sitting idle because the NGOs and the government has not planned to use them. They are still sitting. They are not having work. Some of the companies that you award the contract to came with their skilled person from their different country. But the one that we have trained from the vocational training center, is there any plan to use them? Like you can direct anybody who's signing a contract with the government of South Sudan to make sure those electricians and those plumbers are given the priorities first. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Now we go to answering questions. Do we start with one? We start with Justin.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, First Vice President, Honorable Minister, Presidential Affairs, Ministers, Governors, Ministers at the state level, the head of an institution. Good afternoon. This intervention is very, very important. I will tackle issues related to public service and human resource development because I'm a chairperson of human resource development, public service and human resource development in the National Parliament as an oversight body that want to see the trend of discussion, and thereafter we can now see how we can trigger issues of oversight at the level of the Parliament. So having said this, we have issues related to regulatory system of pension. Indeed, we have realized it and we have seen that this is a very important aspect of managing the pension because pension is one of the elements of public sector reform agenda. if we fail to manage pension in such a way that it can contribute into the public service reform agenda, that has been the country is going nowhere. So I completely agree that in the absence of the retirement benefit authority that is now proposed by the pension fund, and then in other jurisdiction, we have checked even in Tanzania, in other jurisdiction in East African country, then the central bank is being entrusted as a regulatory body. So therefore now, as an oversight body, we, in absence of this, we can look at it that the central bank will be entrusted to be as a regulatory body for this very important fund. Another issue related to pension on the remittance. Your Excellency, governors, to be honest, one of the very important elements of creating hope to the civil servants is actually when the civil servants are working and then they know that if they retired early or if they reach the age of retirement, 65, there is something that can take care of them. So therefore, we are looking critically that the states, they need now to put pension as a priority. The issue whether pension will be at a state level or national level, we can look at it because the law that we pass in the parliament, which is which based on the Civil Servants Act 2011, and then drive to the pension fund, South Sudan Pension Fund 2012, and then we also pass the South Sudan pension schemes. All these laws do not provide a section on it to allow the states to establish their own pension. So therefore, since there is now since there is an issue, constitutional issue in regard to this, then therefore we will look at it, but let us see other jurisdiction. For example, if we see Brazil, in 2019, Brazil advanced a pension reform program. Before 2019, Brazil was managing their pension because Brazil is a federal state, according to the states. But what they have realized and they assess that there is actually a very big problem in managing the state or the pensions in a different states due to the overheat, due to the mismanagement, due to the even people are now failing who is responsible to the fate of their life after retirement. Therefore, Bolsonaro decided to look at it, and then they reformed the tax, the pension into a centralized system, and where it now contributed even into 2.5 GDP of Brazil. So this is the jurisdiction in Brazil. And then before we decentralize the pension, we need actually to see other countries what actually pension execution, how they are executing it and how it really contributed to their welfare. So therefore, I'm seeing that at meantime, when gradually we are going to look at a decentralization of pension, we need to make sure that the civil servants who are now working at the state level should be really having hope that when they retire, they have pension. Therefore, in the absence of the laws and the capacity of the state now, and then we can agree with the states and other jurisdiction, how we can really face this process until the states can really have their different mechanism of tackling the issues related to the pension. Then the state has to contribute their contribution to pension fund. So Honorable Kwal from BAE, I'm here now, an oversight body. I have noticed you have concern on related to the pension fund, and then we can initiate the dialogue. We can initiate the dialogue between your good administrative area, your area, and the pension fund, so that we can see on it that the employees at that level in administrative area of ABA has been taken care of. Honorable Futuyo also, Honorable Governor Futuyo touched about the pension. In fact, he's right in a sense that the pension fund presented accumulated pension arrears. So, however, we are seeing that in his time, he has to be accountable for. Since you have reached to the office, up to now, we will account you, leave the rest. We will also, later on, we will account to those of Bakasoro and so on for their whether they contributed pension or not. But when you come from office up to now, you will be accountable whether you are contributing to the pension or not, because the civil servant in Western Equatoria also deserve a right when they reach into the pension age, they can pension honorably and they can receive what? They can receive a little thing that they can look after their children. Also, in related to the pension, Eastern Equatoria, yes, according to what I got in my office, Eastern Equatoria improve gradually for remitting the pensions in the pension block account. However, maybe it is an oversight. However, me as the chair of the Public Service and Human Resource Development, I noticed that Eastern Equatoria has improved Eastern Equatoria has done some improvement vis-a-vis Central Equatoria. Before they are good, and then the governor of Central Equatoria said before this forum that they have intentionally decided, because they are thinking of creating their own pension. However, Governor, you can create the schemes but not fund, according to the law that we have passed in this parliament, unless now if we agree to agree, we have agreed to agree gradually now. We have agreed to agree gradually now to relinquish the pension affairs to the states. There will be an assessment team, not all the states, because the issue of capacity, the issue of management of the fund, a lot of other technical, even the accountancy of the pension, they have also their different way of building that capacity. After we are sure that the states are well built technically to manage those resources, then we will now see how we can relinquish this power. However, from now onward, you give your money to pension fund to protect the civil servants of Central Equatoria. I'm sorry for that. Now I'm going to end. in related to the points forwarded by Honorable Deng Garang on the issue of shifting from the military to the civil servant. This is one of the issues that this country is facing, militarization of the civil servants and then securitization of and politicization of the security sector. This is one of the very serious issues that we are facing. However, this issue, since his file, this person, his file is being, if he is a civil servant, if his file is being removed from the military, because the military, they have their scheme and they have their fund. We pass it in the national parliament. Then now, he will be tackled according to what? According to the civil servant laws, because he's already been removed from the military into, and then his pension accordingly can be also addressed accordingly. So issue of a new salary structure is the able Undersecretary, Honorable Professor Julia, she's here. She can allude to it technically. However, this issue of new salary structures arrived to us in the parliament, and we sat on it and we discussed it. Now, when we disagree in the parliament on the volume, on the total volume per head, in which it hit the accumulated, the gross cost of the salaries and wages hit to close to 1 trillion, then we agree with the Minister of Finance that after he said that the economy of this country cannot take these trillion expenses on wages and salaries, we agree that this structure to be reviewed, and then it was referred to the economic cluster, and I think I have a notice that they have already finished it, and then it will come to the parliament. That structure includes everybody, from the national parliament up to the states, up to the commissioners. The technicality, how this money is generated, the able minister and the Secretary of Public Service, she's here. She can go further on that. However, this is my contribution in this, and I have taken note because we are the oversight. We will be in the middle in justice between the states and the national, and everybody has to take his right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
I think we agree that let me talk and then she will come. Thank you very much, First Vice President, and the chair of this session. I think most of the questions actually were directed to pension fund, and I will not bother myself answer anything, because I think the Honorable Justin covered some of it. But now let me attempt to answer the first question. I did not capture the person who asked this question, that the civil servants are politicized, and then that Minister of Public Service said yesterday they are being dismissed by governors, by what? And he said now they are actually politicians. What I want to say, we have two types of public servants.
in this country. We have public servant, which is constitutional post holders. They are public servant. Anytime you are boss, any problem with you can dismiss you. This public servant. But you have civil servant. The civil servants are technically highly technical people that grow through the line of that are dismissed by three things. By retirement age, 65, you have to go out of death or gross mistake. It can be dismissed, but there are processes that you can dismiss them. I heard my colleague minister saying that the civil servants are politicized. They are appointed by degrees, which is not supposed to be. Even under secretaries, yes, in the constitution, say the president will appoint under secretary. But the process is that you have the secretary general of the government, and you have minister of public service, and then the line ministry, where the ministry that want to change the under secretary. They sit three of them. Three of them scrutinize all the DGs in the ministries, and then they take their recommendation to the president. In our case now, but some countries, they are bet even in the parliament. All right. This is not the case today, and Pakasura was complaining about that. So we really need to, if we want to have a very stable administration, I think we need to return this civil servant into their professional. The other problem is that Garang asked about military who shift to civil servants. I think the military, the soldiers are civil servants, by the way. They are not politicians. But the Public Service, Civil Service Act said, if you spend 1 minute out of your station and you practice politics, somewhere there only 1 minute, you don't come back to civil service. The act says that. But today, we are not doing this because you are appointed from the military or police or anywhere as a governor or a commissioner, and when you are dismissed there and then you return back to the army. Not supposed to be. All right? You are supposed from day one to resign from that and you don't come back because you are coming to spoil this institution. You will bring politics there into our army. The same thing with civil service. If you want to go to politics, resign first, go and you don't come back. This is a norm, but of course, we are in transition. We are mixing all this. So if we want really our government to operate, our civil servant to be effective, and then I think we need to observe this very seriously. Minister Dear talk about the pension fund and social security funds. Yes, it is very important that we need really to put in place all these bodies to manage these funds. And I think Pocasero, who is actually overseeing the social fund, I think they have to do that. They have to form this body, this RBA. Very important. With us in social insurance, we have not done anything. It is covered in our actual act. When the act is passed, so we are going to form all these bodies and are completely independent. They do their work. We are just overseeing them. If they have a case, if they have any problem, we come back. They are completely independent and they have to manage all these funds in a very professional way so that we don't actually misuse the funds of individual because they are managing fund of individual. General Kwal say that yes, we in the army we are having a problem. We were having a good amount of money collected from individuals, but of course they
the money was used. And I think it is a claim of individual or Minister of Defense from the government, and then Minister of Finance have to pay this money to individual because it is the government who use this money. But we are going to form those bodies with us. Now, in our social insurance funds, we have talked about medical, about unemployment, about what these are projects that we are going to do when we establish this fund, so that we help our people. And actually, it is a good program. It's not the medical insurance like what being done by the Minister of Health. No, but we are encouraging anybody, even local, even if you are not working, we encourage you at least to contribute something small so that you can benefit from this fund. Even if you have your jidada, you put some money there. You will benefit from this money. We are encouraging anybody, you can join in, but it's not the real medical insurance that will be done by the Minister of Health. Yes, with us, we say now in employment, and I said it very clearly this morning, we are actually commissioning employment agents, which is not there, it is in the act. Actually, we are, the regulation of the act, it is actually in the cabinet. When it is passed, we are going to make sure that this agent employ for people. For example, NGOs is one accountant. They will not go directly to the market and what? No, these agents, they will actually look for those qualifications and give them those names. But they will continue to do the normal recruitment, from shortlisting to whatever they will do. And then they bring the report. And this, actually, we are going to do this. Now we have a problem with the UN agencies. We have something called SOBA, the status of force agreement. It is problematic. They don't want to listen to us. Even in the labor, sometimes we have dispute, even within their organizations. We don't accept them because they will tell us SOBA doesn't say that. So we form a forum in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sometimes we call them there. But they say they don't belong to us. We don't ask them. There's nothing that they want from. We cannot summon them. But I think it is something that Your Excellency, people really need to do, because our people even are suffering in their hands. We have employees who are really suffering within the UN agencies, and we cannot hear their case. Sometimes they will refer you back into Geneva, that are working with Geneva, ILO laws. This is not law of South Sudan. So it is a problem. But with us, with the state, we say we have a recruitment guideline that we developed 2019. In that, we say we have actually 4 categories that we say should be recruited locally. You don't need to bring people from outside. We have the community mobilizers, you have the drivers, you have the guards and the cleaners. You don't need to bring them from anywhere, all right? You have to recruit them local. The rest who are actually professionals. For example, if in Upper Nile you need nurses, if you have people in the locality that are qualified to take that job, they have the priority. But if you don't have, you have to bring it from anywhere in South Sudan. And I want to make it very clear, we have a very serious problem. Somebody talk about this type of recruitment. We said 80% should be national. National has not gone down well with our people. They think national is mean local. And this is what happened with us in Torit. In Torit, it was not actually a problem of
of anything else. It was even those in Torit, they don't want people to work there in Torit from Magui, from anywhere in the state. But this is not the case. This is not what the Labor Act said. If you don't have nurses in Torit, you have to bring them from Raja, from anywhere, where they can give services to our people. This is the meaning of that. All right? That's the meaning of that. All right? And we have to really be really serious. But now I want to tell you, colleagues, in NGO sector, we have about 35,000 employees in NGO sector only. 30,000 are South Sudanese. 30,000 are South Sudanese. It is even more than 80%. All right? We are working now to identify certain jobs for foreigners. But it's a process. We are trying to, it's politics. The funders, we have to give them also at least something so that they continue giving us services. All right? So we are negotiating with them so that we give them only some jobs. All right? And then the rest will take it, especially the senior managerial. But it is something that we cannot do overnight. Tomorrow, if they run away, and then we are blamed and what, and so many things. But we are moving, we are moving there. We said also, the state approved, especially Minister of Labor in the state, approve actually any advertisement. People come, if there are NGOs who want to recruit in the state, they come to labor and it is approved by labor. All right? It is approved by labor and we put actually some charges, small charges that they have to pay to the state. So if there's any recruitment in the state, your Minister of Labor is there, he will approve for advertisement and you have to also oversee the recruitment. Last time we argued that we should have person in the board of recruitment, but the NGO say no. It was a tug of war. We discussed it and we said it's okay for time being. We will supervise you from very far. So if you don't want us to be inside there. Yes, I think, Luis, you may be right, but I think, this forum, don't change it. We call it Governor Forum because we are really resolving so many issues. If it is not you, what will bring us here? You call it Governor's Forum is very good. We are even raising you very high. What is your problem? Okay? It is a government forum, but we are discussing issues to do with our coordination between the state and between national and the state, and also within the state itself and within the national. So I think there's no problem. Now, I want to answer the question of Under Secretary of Minister of Agriculture. In our form, I think we need a recommendation for the Minister of Culture if somebody is coming to seek work permit working agriculture sector. We have one problem, since you said it, we have requested somebody because we have a forum where we sit every month. But there's nobody who come from you because we are discussing those many issues. But we said anything to do with agriculture, we need your approval. We don't give work permit. The same thing with health. The same thing with anybody who actually have link with that NGO. We put it in the form of, but if there is somebody that we have given him or her a work permit and working in that sector without consulting you may be oversight. But we need really a recommendation from you because we have so many problems we encounter. I think question of the vocational training centers. I think in the morning, I made it very clear. In our mandate or the mandate of the ministry is talking of support. We are supporting the state. We created these vocational training centers for you to utilize them. It is not the government in the center here that will go and recruit your people there. We are mobilizing for you. Even the NGOs who are training your young people there, it is our program here with us. But operationally, these training centers are under the government of the state, not us. All right? We manage, we mobilize fund, we do anything, and then it is you to go and select. You can even create a project that us here in the center, we will trying to mobilize fund for that training. You know, it is very important. So it is not ours, we the national here, because the youth who are being trained come from the state. You have people, it's children, you have people who have done work, and most importantly, if you go to state, you go to construction sector, you will get most of the foreigners are in that sector. And we say, let us train our people so that we compete. They will actually face those people out. But you need to help us because it is at the end of the day, it is your program. And yes, we asked about, we had a problem with a will, but I think it is, we will resolve it because we say at the end of the day, we are helping you to train your young people that you are used. I have a observation that was not raised at all. One of our mandate is we provide holidays calendar because our act give us, we work for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That is in our constitution. Sometime in the state, without informing anybody, you declare Friday or any day that is a public holiday, or you use it for agriculture without informing us. Our laws say that we have to observe this, right? Should we have anything, I think it is better that we need to consult. But I want to tell you now, we work only 7 months a year, only. Because now if you put 52 Saturday and you put 52 Sunday, we have 16 days holidays. And then you have 45 your annual leave. It will take you 145 days. No work, and that's 145. And yet, nehna darin ijazat ziyada. And we are left behind. We are supposed to work. You know, we are supposed to work. So we work only 7 months a year. The rest, وناس بتاعنا كمان بيقول انه لازم يكون حتى الحاجه الصغير كده يقول لازم يكون في holidays. I think if there is anything that I have not said, I think under secretary, you can say something. All right? Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Under Secretary.
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you to Minister and Honorable Justin. I think they have answered a lot of things. There was these issues of dismissals of civil servants, that they misbehave, and what do you do with them? You dismiss them. You know, that is an issue of subordination. If you give instruction to a civil servant and he doesn't adhere to the orders or the issues to be addressed in the ministry, there are procedures you need to take. First, you form a committee to investigate or give them an explanation first. And then if they don't explain well, then you form a committee to look into the case. And I think this is where the conflict come in the states. So if the director is used to the former minister or former, then you have to address the issue of subordination. You don't just dismiss them because of one issue. There are regulations that you need to follow, so that's where the conflict is. And I think some of these things can be addressed. If there are management meeting, senior management meeting, those things can be brought up and be addressed. So I think that's an easy thing to be done. Like here, we have even a challenge. We have the HR, the human resource officers that we send to the ministries. When they don't go listen, they are just sent back to us, to the Ministry of Public Service. When we send them to that institution, you have to take the procedures. If they have not listened to you, give them an explanation. Then you take the procedures, and then from there, it doesn't lead to dismissal. Then now this is where you can send them back to the Ministry of Public Service, and then we can redeploy them. So we just don't need to, somebody who have been working 20 years or 15 years, and you just throw them on the street. That is unacceptable. So subordination issues could be addressed locally by the government. Issues of pension. I think people have a lot of ideas about pension, and everybody trying to give their own way to think of how that pension should be run. Pension is a property of the employee. It's just instructing the government to hold it for me until the time I'm weak to get out, and then you give it back to me. That's what it is. The challenge has been that our institutions has been very weak. It is not only in pension, but other institutions are weak. So even though laws and regulations are there, they're not being followed. And I really do thank the states that are paying their pension. The only thing we need to do, you have to communicate with us, the Ministry of Public Service. If you have really been putting that money in the block account, we need to see the receipts. Give us those receipts. We have the Department of Pension. It will compile these things, and then they will be sent to pension. And when there is a time for those people who have retired, because there's a lot of them now coming from the states, they say my file is here. The files are not here. Some of the files are still in Khartoum. Some are in the states. So the Department of Pension in the Ministry of Labor and Public Service is supposed to organize those files. And then they are brought to us here to Ministry of Public Service, to the Department of Pension, who will organize them, and then they are sent to pension. But we should know that you have sent out those receipts, that we know you have paid your money. So, Mr. Chief, I'm glad with you. I think you can send me that file, and we will organize your pension with your people in a BA. The institution, the RDA, there are two institutions that need to be established by the RCS. RDA is one, and then Salary Remuneration Commission. Those two need to be really established so that we can be able to address some of these issues. Public service is the one custodian of the money of the civil servant. And I don't see why people try to overlook public service. If we are not cutting that money, where will you get it? It will not even reach to the pension. So you have to be very careful the way you think that public service is going to be overlooked and then it's going to go to pension. No, it is a coordination effort. Public service will make sure we have cut that money. We know that this money, it is with finance, it is sent to pension. And we also have to see whether the files we have sent to pension are being paid. So these things this trail of line need to be understood very well. I will not answer a lot of things, but I will answer about the pension. The pension, the one for civil servant. We have the one for organized forces. So the Ministry of Interior they have their pension. The organized forces, army, they have their pension. Judiciary, they have their pensions. If you have a problem there as an employee, you can only come to us and we will inquire with our colleagues who are in the other sector so that your pension can be able to be given to you. If you are in the military and you have been brought to civil servant, you have half of your pension is with the military. When you start with the civil servant, we'll start from there. And then from there, it will be coordinated. By the time you retired, we'll bring your file there and your money plus the file we have is put together, calculated, and your money is given to you. Ijama, this work is there. It is sometimes we just assume these things are not there. And then we just keep complaining and complaining. Or sometimes we just work on crisis. If somebody is sick, oh, somebody is sick, and the pension was somewhere. Where were you waiting all this time when we know all these things? And I think this recently we have started organizing the directors general forum so that they can begin to do their work in their ministries, and especially the Department of Pension. In each ministry, we will work. We have agencies that goes to collect those data and bring them back, and they can be organized. So please, we have the department. If you have anything, come to us, and you will be addressed. Salary structure we have just done recently. It has been done, and I think it has been proposed, has been accepted by the cabinet, but there was a challenge of a gap. Where do we get a gap to be able to pay the salary out? What we have done is a scientific, and also looking at the region, how now we are becoming part of the East African region. So if you are still paying our, like you are paying a private organized force $5 compared to the region, $5 for a month, divided in 30 days. How much is that? Is 0.1. Not buying anything. Come to civil servant, it's $8 a month. So we say this is it is not anywhere. So we look at the fragile states and what is the benchmark, poverty benchmark that we can calculate. So the World Bank benchmark is $2.5 a day for the poorest, maybe the poorest of the poorest countries. Yeah. So we say, okay, we will not go that high, but we will try to be somewhere else. So we'll calculate it $1 a day. And that's what we have calculated. So for grade 17, if you get 100, that will be around, $60,000, 60,000 pounds a month. At least that can buy shoulder gig ya Jama Betana. And we tried that one.
Thank you. I think you have done it.
I think we have done. And finally, the last one, the issue of healthcare. The concept has already been done. The Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health and Ministry of Public Service, they are working on that. And we hope in the near future, there will be some kind of support, health insurance for the civil servant in South Sudan. I think that's what I can ask. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. You said you had a paper which the first part of it is a question. The other one is opinion.
Thank you, Your Excellency. There is a question here on the value of the pension fund. What is the institution concerned doing the added value to these funds to guarantee dignified retirement of the public servant? This is the question from the floor. And I think Honorable Professor and the Secretary alluded to recently, just now. You see, if we look at some jurisdiction when the salary structure is being increased, also the value of the pension is what is increased. For instance, now we're increasing the salaries. Also, those who are those who are having a pension, those who are pensioners, are also the same. It will be applied to them, and then the calculation to be done so that the value of the pension that they are receiving monthly also will be increased. Mind that the pension fund, based on the report they gave us, they have ability now of, if the government now endorse the policy of retirement, now they have ability of accommodating, according to their report, 2,000 pensioners. But this is not enough. We are demanding short of 5 years program. Within these 5 years, how many pensioners that the pension can take care of, based on the work that we're working with the Minister of Public Service and Minister of Finance to look at the areas of the pension. And opinion, this opinion says states are unstable in terms of the number and size, because he is alluded to, if you see the states now, stability of the state structures from 10 to 28, from 28 to 32, 32 to 10, and maybe the permanent constitution also will say something else. Therefore, this element need to be accommodated when we are looking at this process. Number two, resources base is not constant. In some states, for example, Central Equatoria is lucky, but some states, the resources are a problem. So now is looking at that state is not capable to run that. Now, number three, final, states do not have control over economic stability in terms of inflation control, and then also states have limited capacity to borrow. As we have seen in some jurisdiction, the pensions, they have ability of doing a giant investment, whereby they can, the government, the national government can guarantee some sovereign guarantee, so that they can invest in accordance to contribution of the government to the employees. So I think here is reflecting also those facts. So with this, I think, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I thank you all, the panelists, for the good work, the good explanation. Now we understood. Thank you. You can take your seats. Minister of Finance, you have one question. Can you answer that? The one I sent you. Now, Western Equatoria to prepare themselves.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I received a question here, I think maybe from somebody who may be working for Juba City Council. And the question is, why is there no transfer of conditional grants to Juba City Council? Yet it met the criteria for establishment of a city council under Appendix 1 of the Local Government Act 2009. I consulted the local Government Act 2009, and indeed, Appendix 1 highlights the criteria for establishing a city council or a number of all the local governments, how they are. So I have no doubt in terms of meeting that criteria, the criteria are met. But the establishment of all these local councils have their own criteria. One of the criteria, of course, is the size of the population. But even more importantly, the criteria of financial viability is clearly stated there. And in fact, the criteria for the financial viability is almost between 75 to 100%. Also, if you see Section 77 from the Local Government Act, it's also clarify the source of revenue for a body like Juba City Council. And it is also very clearly stated there, they have their taxes, they have all the collections that are done. But there is also a possibility, it's not a must, but there is one of the possible funding areas is grants from both the central government and also state government. So I think reading the act, there is nothing automatic there that state that the central government must provide the grant aids or the what he's mentioning here. Definitely, it's something that can be raised. If you are financially viable, then there is no need for us to fund you, as long as you are financially viable. If there are gaps, then those things, I think we can discuss them and see what the central government can do. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Well, now, the next presentation is by Western Equatorial Governor. You'll come later. Western Equatoria. Once Western Equatoria has done, then we'll go to Undersecretary of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, and then status of agriculture in South Sudan, my Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. We want these three to finish so that Monday we finish, and then Tuesday would be the reading. We lost one day. Fadal, Governor of Western Equatoria. Sunday is a weekend anyway.
أنا بشوف أنا شيلو أيام كتير وأنا ما هو سجايل ما أنا باقي زمان ده أنا يا بكالا صلاة بدل تاني ما في زول تاني بجا فشكرا نائب الرئيس الأول and national ministers أخوانا بتاعي governors وكل الناس اللي جايين بروتوكول عليكم في مال السلام عليكم شوية أنا بسيلو إذن من نائب الرئيس الأول عشان كله سكرتير جنرال